What's up, everyone? First episode of Axel's analysis. I am Axel Mulligan. Oh, well, not really Axel Mulligan. That's a name I've stolen from the former character portrayed by Bray Wyatt. Going to be doing this every week. NXT reviews every week, just to sort of put my views across. I don't think anybody does anything like this at the moment, so if I'm the first, brilliant. Reviewing this week's episode, new announced team. I wasn't really keen on it. Rich Brennan, Jason Albert, and Renee Young. I've got nothing against Rich Brennan. I think he's doing a brilliant job at the moment. Albert needs to shut the fuck up with this fucking I Love Bubbles bollocks. I've had enough of it. It's just getting right on my fucking nerves, and I can't stand Renee Young. That's probably the most unpopular opinion from a male wrestling fan, but I just cannot stand Renee Young. She does my head in. Don't like her on commentary. Her interviews are good, but I just don't like her on commentary. Maybe it's probably because of the stuff that she does with Regal when Regal's on the show. You know, all the flirting, it does my head in. But anyway, negative way to start the show. First match was Emma versus Charlotte. Charlotte obviously had the BFF Sasha Banks in her corner. Emma's still over, which is good, because on Raw and SmackDown, obviously she's had this really bad booking with what I like to call this Emerella partnership with Santina, and it does nothing for me. It does nothing for Emma. It does nothing for Santina. Obviously they've only been feuding with Fandango and whoever he's been fucking partnered with at the time. You know, obviously he was working with Summer Rae and now he's working with Layla. I just don't fucking like it. Nobody does, but over on NXT, she's still booked well. You know, she's still getting good pops from the crowd. I'm not too keen on Charlotte. As much as she's a good athlete, she's not, in my opinion, that good of a wrestler, but she's improving, which is a good sign. And I think she needs to really, obviously, being the daughter of Ric Flair. You know, Flair's obviously, everybody knows, a 16-time world champion. But Charlotte, she's got a lot of work to do for me. She looked impressive. She used a couple of figure four headlocks, which looked like they were sort of quite cinched in quite well. And she needs to sort of develop a character of her own instead of the commentators giving her the dirtiest diva in the game. I think she needs to move on from like standing in her father's shadow and, you know, make her character her own. I'm sure she will over time, and this is just something to get her over for now, but it doesn't do it for me. Match ended when Emma, she used the fucking pink cobra on my fucking days. Get rid of this shit. This fucking pink cobra is just fucking awful. It's awful. Sasha climbed up onto the apron. Emma hit the cobra to Sasha. Charlotte rolled her up. Bam, bam. 1, 2, 3. Quick match. It was about 3 or 4 minutes long. Yeah, did nothing for me. She's obviously, this is for the Women's Championship tournament. Charlotte's into the semi-final. Yeah, there was a second match later in the show, but I'll get to that later on. The second match. Finally, we have new tag teams in NXT. We've got the Legionnaires. There's Sylvester Lefort and Marcus Louis, who's making his debut against El Locale, who's obviously, everybody knows, is Ricardo Rodriguez, and Kalista, the former Samurai Del Rey. Really, really good match, I thought. You know, the French guys, Lefort and Louis, they were working well. They worked over Rodriguez, or El Locale rather. They worked him over really well. Locale got the hot tag to Kalista, and he just came in like a fucking house on fire. He was hitting high impact moves off the top rope. He's very quick, very good on his feet, uses his feet well as weapons. Not quite like to the extent of Rob Van Dam sort of 10, 12 years ago, but he worked well with his feet. Very good end to the match as well, where he used the handspring that Tajiri used to use off the ropes to come back for an elbow. But what Kalisto did is he didn't use his hands, and he sort of balanced his neck or his head on the bottom rope, and he came back over and he hit a big enziguri to Sylvester Lefort for the win. One thing that the commentators were talking about the whole time was the Ascension need competition. They've had no fucking competition. This is the booking. The booking has been shite. The booking has been awful for this tag team division. There's no competition at all. You know, up until 3 weeks ago, there was one tag team. That's excluding Colin Cassidy and Enzo Amore. Obviously, Enzo's been out injured since the back end of last year. But the booking has just been awful for the tag division. For the commentators to constantly say the Ascension needs, you know, new competition. All they've been beating is jobbers. You need to get a decent tag division, because as much as it's not great on the main roster, it's been proved recently, obviously, with the Usos winning the belts. You know, you've got the Wyatt family up there as well. They're sort of moving on into contention. But on NXT, there's just no sign of that. You know, they've recently paired up Jason Jordan and Ty Dillinger. Jason Jordan, I've been saying for a long time, should be in the tag division. But there was just nobody to tag him with. But he looks good with Ty Dillinger now. Maybe another team that they could have worked with had they not released them would have been Danny Burch and Oliver Gray, you know, two English tag team or two English wrestlers. Oliver Gray, he's worked in a tag team in NXT before, you know, with Adrian Neville, the first ever tag team champions in NXT. They need something like that, you know. They need more tag teams to build a credible division, because right now the division's just dead, and it's, you know. So, I mean, hopefully, I mean, at NXT Takeover on May the 29th, I'm hoping that they can put in a new, they can put in some sort of a proper tag team match, but not one that was sort of thrown together last minute like we had at Arrival, where you had Too Cool taking on, the Ascension. We need a proper tag team. We need, like, maybe El Locale and Kalista taking on the Ascension, even if they lose, you know, they just need some sort of credible team. And Kalisto and El Locale, they look really good together. I was really impressed. But no, the division's dead. The division's dead at the moment. You know, this is good for the division, having a couple of new teams. I mean, hopefully over the next sort of coming months, you know, a lot of talk about the Ascension moving up to the main roster. Hopefully we can have a build-up of more teams coming through the ranks. You know, I think they dropped the ball with the American Wolves, or the Pitbulls as they called them. They could have signed them and probably should have signed them up, because Eddie Edwards and Dave Richards, they're not just a good tag team, they're good singles wrestlers as well, you know. So if ever they needed to move them out, they could have made that step into like a decent mid-card guys. But anyway, that's that little rant over. The third match of the night was Camacho versus Captain Comic. Oh my fucking god. Captain Comic was the guy who was taken out last week by Camacho after Adam Rose's match. I can't remember who he was wrestling now. What the fuck? Right, this guy just looks overweight. It's fucking ridiculous costume. Ugh. I like Camacho. Camacho's a good guy. You know, he's a big build. He's solid in the ring. He can work. You know, he's had a few interviews recently to show that he can talk on the mic. This is nothing for Camacho for me. You know, he's in this feud with Adam Rose. That's not going to last very long now, because Adam Rose has moved up to the main roster. And where does Camacho go from there? You know, I think he needs like more of a long-lasting feud. Camacho wins a squash match with a running power slam. You know, a la British Bulldog. Nah. Did nothing for me, because Captain Comic, it was a squash match. Captain Comic, he had a couple of punches. That was it. It was a fuck all match, basically. Adam Rose did make a save after the match. Camacho looked like he was going to attack Captain Comic, but Adam Rose came in, chased him off. You know, building up for a match within the next couple of weeks, obviously, but no, I'm not too excited about it. I like Adam Rose, I like Camacho, but the feud's just been booked completely wrong from the start. I mean, it's only a short feud, but it's just been booked completely wrong for me. The next match of the night was Alicia Fox versus the debuting Alexa Bliss. And I'm working off of notes here that I've written down. Alexa Bliss looking hot. She looked fantastic, you know. She's a good looking girl, you know. She's got this fairy gimmick. I'm not too keen on the gimmick, but you know, she looks solid in the ring. She's athletic, you know. She can work. You can tell that she's been sort of working down at the training center, working on her wrestling ability. She's got charisma about her. Is what you like to see. She could move up to the main roster hopefully within the next year or so. It's probably a bit premature to say that after only one match, but she worked it well. I was very impressed. Alicia Fox, everybody knows she's improved. She's improved a hell of a lot. There's no more of this Alicia Botch Fox that she used to be known as. She has improved a lot. She's a good wrestler now. She does need something on the main roster to keep her relevant up there, but no, this was a good little match, to be fair. Alexa Bliss picked up the win. She moves on to the semi-finals. It's good. It's a good little way it's a good thing that they've got going now with the Divas down in NXT. Paige moved up to the main roster. You've got Natalya moving down every now and then to sort of help bolster that because she's not doing much on the main roster. So having the rub of Natalya down in NXT is a good thing. The semi-finals for the tournament, you've got Sasha Banks and Natalya, and then you've got Charlotte versus Alexa Bliss. My pick for the tournament, I would go for Charlotte to win it overall because they're building her to be the next big thing in women's wrestling in NXT. Obviously, with Paige now moving up, Paige only lost one match, I think it was, in NXT. I can't remember Charlotte losing too many since she debuted last year, I think it was. But I think that they're looking to sort of fill Paige's shoes with Charlotte, which, if she, as I said earlier, if she can prove in the ring, then that's good. If she can move away from this dirtiest diva in the game, which is something I'm not keen on at all, but if she can move on from that, build her own character, just drop the mention, that she's that she is the daughter of Ric Flair, then yeah, but don't like live off of it because that's just promoting her dad and it's not really doing much for her. The next part of the show was Devin Taylor, and everybody knows that Devin Taylor on the show is my favourite part of the show. She's ask anybody who knows me, they'll tell you. She was interviewing Adrian Neville about we got a battle royal coming up next as the main event. She was just interviewing Neville about his opinions on the match. He said that he's going to commend anybody who wins it. He's going to welcome the challenge. The winner of the Battle Royal faces Neville at TakeOver on May the 29th. He's just looking forward to the challenge, and he talks about Cesaro's win at WrestleMania, saying that Battle Royals are big time matches, and he sort of mentioned Cesaro body slamming the Big Show over the top rope at WrestleMania. The main event was 21 guys, which is a bit of an odd number, unless I've miscounted. We've got Brodus Clay, Camacho, Colin Cassidy, Marcus Louis, Sylvester Lefort, Mason Ryan, Oliver Gray, Yoshi Tatsu. What the fuck did he do to get in a main event? Baron Corbin, who I am very big on, by the way. Aiden English, El Locale, Kalisto, Jason Jordan, Danny Burch. Again, what the fuck? Xavier Woods and Kurt Hawkins, just, I suppose with Hawkins, it's more of a, the guy's been on the main roster, so it adds a little bit to the match. It's either that or he's just filling in, probably more so that he's filling in because, well, yeah, there's not many guys down in NXT who could sort of fill that spot, I suppose. They were sort of in the ring, and then you had entrances for Mojo Rawley, and I fucking hate Mojo Rawley. The guy says, I don't get hyped, I stay hyped. Well, how the fuck do you stay hyped without getting hyped first? That is all I got to say to you, Mojo Rawley. Sami Zayn had an entrance. Obviously, you'd expect to see a guy like him in the match. Tyler Breeze and Tyson Kidd came in whilst Sami Zayn was he just got into the ring, and sort of Kidd and Breeze they came in sort of on the side. I didn't understand it. Why not just have them in the ring before the match? I'm probably sort of nitpicking here, but I just didn't understand it. And then Bo Dallas, he's got this new entrance, building up his character for the main roster. And I'm not a Bo leaver, but he's impressing me recently. Is the temper tantrum that he threw a few weeks ago? It was brilliant. I thought he executed it really well. It's obvious that he's got a bit of talent in the ring as well. The one thing I'm not too sure about is, what's he going to use as his finishing move? He's had about 4 or 5 now since NXT started up. I think that he needs something there to call his own. He's used a spear, he's used a bulldog off the top rope. He's used the DDT that Drew McIntyre's used for years. I think there's 1 or 2 others as well that he's used, but he needs a finisher to call his own. I'm very impressed with the DDT. But again, it's something that somebody's used recently, so he needs something more his own for me. But as I say, he's improving a lot. He's impressing me recently. I'm not a believer, but you never know, I might become one. We'll go down to the last 3. I've written down all the eliminations, but I'm not going to go through them all. The last 3 in the match, sorry, the last 4 I'll go to. We have Bo Dallas, Tyson Kidd, Tyler Breeze, and Sami Zayn. Bo Dallas was eliminated first out of 3, which was a bit of a surprise, really, by Tyson Kidd. And fucking hell, the pop that Tyson Kidd got when he eliminated him. The NXT audience just loves to get on the back of Bo Dallas, and I would be as well if I was there. There was a big pop and a big thank you Tyson chant that went out around the arena. Excuse me. The finish was really good as well to the match. You had 2 guys on the apron. I think it was Tyson Kidd and Tyler Breeze. It might have been Sami Zayn and Tyson Kidd actually. And Tyler Breeze he came in to sort of take them out, and they all hit the floor at the same time. Really well done. I don't think it could have been done any better, because it was very hard to tell. I think Tyler Breeze hit the floor last, but it was hard to tell who hit the floor first between Tyson Kidd and Sami Zayn. But there was a lot of arguing going on between the 3. The referees came down. I think it was 4 or 5 referees came down. They were sort of trying to defuse the situation. Anyway, crowd starts chanting triple threat obviously they want a triple threat match to decide the eventual winner. Triple H comes out and he sort of settles down the arguments, and he asks the crowd what they want. Another big triple threat chant breaks out. So he makes the match for next week. That's the main event, and then the winner of that will go on to face Adrian Neville at TakeOver on the 29th of May. My pick for the match, I would go with Sami Zayn, because I think that he would probably have the better match with Adrian Neville. They both wrestle the same sort of style, high flying, high impact, very, very big guys, and they both were at the indie circuit for years together. So I'd like to see that match, but I'd be happy with either any of the 3 outcomes. To be honest with you, I think Tyler Breeze is working well at the moment, and Tyson Kidd, he's one of the best technicians that WWE's had for a long, long time, and how he's not had at least a decent mid-card push on the main roster, I'll never know, because the guy can work better than pretty much everybody on that roster. Decent show overall. I'll give it a 6.5 out of 10. There was a lot of good storyline movement, obviously with the Women's Championship tournament, the main event for with the Battle Royal to become the #1 contender at TakeOver. A couple of new tag teams as well. Kalista looks brilliant. I mean, I was thinking all along, Rey Mysterio. Again, might be a bit premature, like I was saying with Alexa Bliss earlier. Might be a bit premature saying Kalista could be the next Rey Mysterio. The guy's 27 years old, right? He's a month older than myself. He could be the next big, like what Sin Cara should be. He could be what Rey Mysterio was sort of 6 or 7 years ago. I've got a lot of hope in this guy. I think he's looking good. Something that's with that division again, the Ascension, obviously not many title defenses. It's just become like Dean Ambrose's US title reign, really. Defended the titles 4 times, if that. I think they defended it once against Neville and Graves, once against Too Cool, and then once against Hunico and Camacho as well, before Hunico took on the Sin Cara gimmick. More defenses are needed. I mean, hopefully over the next coming weeks. I can't remember what the tapings results were. I read the spoilers, but I can't remember if they've got a title defense over the next couple of weeks. I'm hoping they have. Just needs more credibility for the title, to be honest with you. The main event, as I said, it was a good match. Couldn't have done the finish any better. And I'm looking forward to a triple threat match next week. It's not often I say that, but as I said, you've got three guys who I'm very big on. And I'm looking forward to it. I really am. Next week we've got as well as that main event, we've got the semi-finals of the Women's Championship tournament. The first semi-final. I'm not sure which match it is, whether it's Shasha versus Natalya or if it's Alexa Bliss versus Charlotte. But either way, I'm looking forward to it. You know, the winner of that tournament, the final of the tournament takes place on May the 29th, and the winner obviously becomes the new women's champion. So I'm looking forward to it. There's a few rumours floating around that NXT, they're on about doing a weekly taping, and if they do, I'd like to see the shows made to 2 hours as opposed to 1, because at the moment some of the matches on the show, they're sort of 3 or 4 minutes long, and everything's just too clustered. There's nothing. It all seems rushed. You know, if you can have sort of maybe 5 or 6 matches, excuse me, you can have 5 or 6 matches where everything is paced nicely. You know, 7-8 minute matches. That's what we need. Maybe a little bit longer for the main event. It becomes less clustered and it makes the matches look more well worked. But you never know. That's, like I said, that's just a rumor that I've read. A few sort of rumblings on Twitter and on the dirt sheets. But if it happens, brilliant. If not, so be it. I still enjoy NXT anyway. As well, obviously, we had the releases. There was 4 people released over the last couple of weeks. We had the 3 British people. We had Danny Burch, we had Mason Ryan, Oliver Gray, and then obviously Shaul Guerrero, aka Raquel Diaz, the daughter of Eddie and Vicky Guerrero. Not really too fussed on the Shaul Guerrero release, to be honest with you, because apparently she had a bit of a bad attitude. You know, she didn't really do a lot of training or enough training. But Danny Burch and Oliver Gray, as I said earlier, I think they could have worked well as a tag team. And the Mason Ryan release was a bit of a shock, really, because he probably works once every 3 or 4 weeks on the show. You know, he's not a staple on the show by any means, but he's regularly used on the show, so it's a bit of a surprise that he was released. But hey ho, that's just one of those things, you know. Shout outs. Now it's the end of the show. The shout outs. I always used to do them when I used to write my blogs. Excuse me. I always used to do them when I did my blogs over on Facebook. By the way, the Facebook page has now changed. It's now called Axel's Analysis, as had the Twitter page, which I had under the name Darren's Rambles. That's now Axel's Analysis, at Axel's Analysis as well. First shout out is to the person who sort of got me started with all this, really, Tim Vicious on Twitter, at Tim Vicious. He does a YouTube show every week where he'll review every episode of Raw, or he'll do the pay-per-views when we have pay-per-views on. You can find him on YouTube. His show's called #ViciousRants. Brilliant show every week, Tim. I absolutely love listening to it. Just keep up the good work, man, and thank you as well for just, you know, giving me the kick up the ass that I needed to be able to do this. And I you know, it's something that I've enjoyed doing for the last year or so, reviewing the shows. So yeah, thanks very much, man. Sunday Segway. They do a podcast every Sunday, Kinney and Shugs. You can find it on Podomatic, iTunes, YouTube every Sunday. Brilliant, absolutely brilliant show to listen to. Always a good laugh. They got the Beat the Clock trivia challenge coming up soon, which I'm going to be a part of, and I'm really looking forward to that. Michael Cook, your ass is mine, sunshine. Really looking forward to that. James Powers 33. James has got his own wrestling show on YouTube as well. James's Wrestling Ramble, where he reviews Raws each week. Really good really good to listen to. He's a very well educated fan. He knows his stuff. He also does a lot of work for the Sunday Segway. He's their head of fan relations, and he also developed an app for, I believe it was the smartphone. Correct me if I'm wrong, James. So yeah, make sure you download that app if you've got a smartphone. Sunday Segway app. Pro Wrestling Smart Talk. You can find them on Twitter at PWSmarkTalk. Nick does a brilliant job, absolutely brilliant job. He's done interviews with lots of different guys and girls over the last however long it's been. Sorry, Nick, I'm not sure. I was writing NXT blogs for him, but Nick, you're more than welcome to use these shows as opposed to the blogs if you like. And then also Wrestling Rambles. The website wrestlingrambles.com. The Twitter handle is Wrestling Rambles. That's wrestling without the G. Excuse me. They asked me to write for them some time ago now. What I've been doing is writing out my top 15 SmackDown moments. This year's the 15th birthday, if you will, of SmackDown. There's a lot of other great blogs over there as well. You know, my favourite one to read is the 3 Count. But yeah, absolutely brilliant website. Make sure you check it out. WrestlingRambles.com. My account's on Twitter. You got my personal account is at Axel Mulligan. The name, as I say, is stolen from the previous character of Bray Wyatt. Hopefully that's not a copyright infringement as well. And we've also got Axel's Analysis, which is where I'll be posting most of the links to these shows that I'll be doing. Thanks for listening. If you liked it, brilliant. If you didn't, I don't really give a fuck, to be honest, because this is the way I want to do things now. A lot of people enjoyed my blogs, so I'm hoping that you'll enjoy these as well. Thanks very much.